if you're like depressed because something happened at school when you were a kid, and your parents are like, "Oh, go depress those dishes," just thinking mental health is like a taboo. Not trying to get your child that help that they need because they obviously need it. That's what I'm trying to do. Break the generational curses, the generational traumas, and hey, that's the past. But look at now.
Yeah.
Take care of your mental health. It's very, very important. So that's why I advocate for it strongly because look at our nation right now.
Yeah.
Right.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the ABCs of Soul podcast.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Betsy.
And I'm Claudia.
And guess what? We have a special guest today. I'd like to bring the attention to Miss Holly. Please introduce yourself and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here today with the A, B, and the C of Soul.
Thank you.
My name is Holly Sisa. I am the founder of Morning Mimosas. It is a podcast where we value criminal justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. And I'm here to chat with you guys about whatever we're going to get into, mental health, and whatever we need to talk about as far as justice goes.
I love how you are open book. You're like, just whatever, just anything.
Yes, anything.
Going with the flow.
Yeah. So if you've watched our show before, we always have an icebreaker. So I have the icebreaker this week. And today my question is, what is one food that you would get rid of forever for everyone if you could?
For everyone? That's not fair.
I know. Yeah, it says it eliminate. You just got to take it off.
Who said?
I said that's part of icebreaker.
She's like, it's my icebreaker.
It's my icebreaker.
Wait, if I can get rid of
If you could eliminate one food, it doesn't exist anymore.
tacos.
Holly.
We were just talking about El Patron.
Yes. No.
You have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
Not everything about tacos, but just certain type of tacos. Get rid of like the salami. I'm not a taco person. Give me the burrito. Like I just like the fullness.
What about like crunchy tacos? You like crunchy tacos, soft tacos.
I mean,
they're
soft tacos
different.
they're pretty good, but I'm just give me the stuff that's filling.
You want a big one. You want a big burrito.
Yeah, that's just.
Oh my God.
Holly hurt me. She struck me through the heart. Tacos. I'm like, oh my God.
I don't know.
A world without
Me and
tacos.
Holly's gonna be friends.
You would be taking away Taco Tuesdays. I think you would have a lot of enemies.
Popeyes Tuesdays will still exist. So
I mean, I'll with you on the chicken.
I'll get the shrimp. Well, see, I get the shrimp box, but that's neither here or there. But
You what?
I said I get the shrimp box.
From where?
Popeyes.
Shrimp box.
Papayas?
Well, we'll see. I wasn't going to say that's my food to eliminate because it's not, but you guys know I don't like chicken like that. And
Claudia?
I know that's another thing
Claudia,
but I don't.
Don't do it.
Aren't you low-key vegetarian?
Yeah.
I was vegetarian
Yeah.
/ plant-based for like 4 years.
Yeah.
What's your food that you're gonna get rid of? I'm mad.
Coleslaw.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, we can get rid of
Ooh,
coleslaw.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't think anyone needs that.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. See, it was like, no, coleslaw can go. Nobody eats that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not
who
anyone
eats
with taste
I don't
buds,
even know
at
why
least.
they make it. It's
I
just a
know.
waste of
What are you
food.
talking?
Everybody throws it away. The ones from Kentucky, KFC.
Honestly, it doesn't
Right.
matter where
eats
it's
those
from. I don't care if
ones.
your grandma made it, KFC made
Right.
it. Like, it can go.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I
want it.
never had good coleslaw
I
ever.
agree. I'm gonna do coleslaw too.
Ash, pick another one.
What was the one you were thinking about before?
Yeah,
I said
before she
coleslaw?
said coleslaw.
Maybe like pig feet, and I've never eaten.
I've never
before.
eaten
That's just.
But it sounds like why the hell
Do people eat pig feet?
Yeah, they do.
I've
I
heard
was
of
like,
chicken feet.
that too can go. Any
No, my
feet.
parents, they'll eat chicken feet.
Yeah, I used
don't,
to eat
but yeah.
chicken feet
But-
until I knew what they were.
Like, is this a foot?
You didn't
When I
see
was a kid, and my
see
mom
the
would just give it to
Like,
Ew!
whose toenails this?
That's I didn't until I knew.
Disgusting. Not just like you're bleeding on your lip because the toenail just scratched you.
Oh my God.
Raise your hand if you've ever had chicken feet.
No.
What?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Producer Paul. Paul's had it. No, I've seen my parents eat it,
Yeah,
but like I never
okay.
ate them.
Maybe if it's just prepared correctly. You have to boil it for a really long time. So I'm like kind of a picky eater, but not really. And
But
I think not now.
Oh,
Were you listening?
I know she said she's
I
traumatized.
said before I knew what chicken feet was, I would eat chicken feet. So when I was probably in elementary school. But what I'm gonna have to say is probably really controversial. I'm on the same level as Holly. I really don't like ketchup. So I would take ketchup
I'm cool with
away.
that, actually. I don't care about ketchup
like
so
that.
much.
The smell to
I
me,
do, but
it's
ketchup is like a bottom tier condiment to me.
No,
I
it's
mean,
it's a staple.
It's a tomato smoothie.
Yeah,
yo.
I'm like, no, you see, look,
I mean, tomatoes are fruit.
like I like mustard. I love other
I double
condiments.
dare you, Holly.
I love
to
dressing.
drink a tomato ketchup
Oh,
smoothie.
do you have a ketchup?
Okay, we gotta invite you on the next podcast. That would be a good show.
Dares.
Okay,
You guys will
next
come
one.
back to that. Maybe we'll do like a dare episode.
Okay.
Yes.
So on a more serious note, Holly, Morning Mimosas, very, very interested about the concept behind it and what your podcast talks about. Please shed some light on that.
So I actually started Morning Mimosas back in May of 2017. When I started it, I didn't have like a full plan on what I wanted to do with it initially. I kind of just created like the Facebook page. I wanted to talk about issues, made an announcement, didn't do anything with it. It was in 2022 after experiencing a lot of tragedy. I lost 2 aunts in February, 2 uncles in October, and then my mom's cousin passed away in October as well. So 5 family deaths. And then just seeing just all the injustice that was going on, especially during the pandemic, made me want to use my voice to be the voice of the community, give people a voice as well. So I decided to revamp that page. I looked for co-hosts and that didn't work out. And then I decided to launch in February of this year. The story behind the justice part is I lost my firstborn when I was 15. She was drowned and the police deemed it an accidental drowning. And from there, I just started seeing different parents go through the same thing I went through, not getting justice for their children, cases getting cold, especially for Black and minorities. We, for some reason, are on the back end of that. If one of us goes missing or if one of us gets unalived, because I don't want to say the M word, our cases are put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I will not allow that anymore. I want to make sure that we get justice in all aspects, alive and or dead. So that's why Morning Mimosas exists. Morning in the Morning Mimosas is awakening. So we're going to awaken the community, and mimosas, I just like that beverage. So Morning Mimosas was born from that.
I think the name is really catchy. Your podcast touches on many different topics. I was looking through it and you talk about, I guess, like awareness on missing cases, or you call it the M word. So I'll use your language, or if somebody was M'd, if you will. And then you also talk about more like mental health education and justice for minority communities, Black and brown communities. And so how come these 3 topics, if you will, are the ones that you chose to highlight?
Because they're the ones that affect our community the most. Education, let's start there, is pretty bad. Minorities drop out the most. I don't know if that's changed in the recent years, but we're getting more educated now, but it's not as much as it should be. So I want to, shed light on that. I was watching a clip from TikTok and a teacher was talking about how a lot of kids, especially in the minority communities, are behind in like education. And I'm just like, what's being done about that? So it's shedding light on stuff like that. Criminal justice, the same way, alive and or not alive, people being wrongfully put in prison for the stupidest things, shedding light on those kind of cases and trying to get justice for them. Healing, which is the mental health part of everything, making sure we're taking care of all kinds of health, not just physical, sexual, emotional. Our mental health is just as important because it can affect all those other things. So that's why I decided to shed light on those topics, because those are the biggest things that are affecting us. Because we, especially with the healing part, a lot of us, well, we're minorities, unfortunately, right? according to.
Or fortunately.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm saying that because I think we're the majority. That's why
Yes,
I say that.
I always think of the word, like, instead of being called a minority, I would much rather be called the like worldwide majority. And to me, I'm like, oh, that sounds just more uplifting.
And I'm gonna say it like that. So we are the worldwide majority, and a lot of our parents grew up with like, okay, for example, if you're like depressed because something happened at school when you were a kid, and your parents are like, oh, go depress those dishes. Just thinking mental health is like a taboo.
Yeah.
Not trying to get your child that help that they need because they obviously need it. That's what I'm trying to do. Break the generational curses, the generational traumas. And hey, that's the past, but look at now.
Yeah.
Take care of your mental health.
Right.
It's very, very important.
Right.
So that's why I advocate for it strongly because look at our nation right now.
Yeah.
Right. And to follow up with that, you mentioned about like how it is important for your mental health and to have a voice. So I'm curious of what your like mental health journey has been like.
So I was suicidal after my daughter passed, and my high school tried to get a therapist to come and speak to me. And it was like a setting like this in the principal's office, and she had her notepad and her clipboard, and I was just, divulging like how I felt being like, I was a teenage mom and I'd lost my child. And that lady was just sitting there, just writing notes. And I was asking her like, are you actually listening to me?
Jeez.
Wow.
And she said, yeah, I'm listening, still writing. And I was like, I don't think you're listening. I ran out of that principal's office. And then I ran to the social work and I was like, Miss Jackson, this is counseling? Her just writing notes and not really caring about how I feel. So after that, I was like, forget this. Like, why should I go take care of my mental health if no one's really gonna listen to how I felt? So for years, I just let it linger and it got worse and worse. I just got really depressed, anxiety. There was a situation in 2017 where I was almost killed by my ex-boyfriend and I had to go to court-mandated therapy. And I was finally diagnosed with PTSD. And her name was Shannon. And that experience I had with her was amazing. And I was mad that it had to end because it was court mandated. So after that, I didn't do any therapy for a while. And then I had my 2 children. And then I decided that I have to take care of my mental health because I don't want them to ever not be able to come to me if they have issues. Like I wasn't able to go to my parents when I had issues. So I decided hey, it's time for me to start taking care of this so it doesn't go on to my children. So now I'm in therapy and my therapist is great and I will continue to advocate for that because people deserve to be their greatest.
Right.
So, and, I agree wholeheartedly that every therapist, has a different approach and has a different style, but you bring up like the notepad and like having something in front of their faces and writing. And it's interesting to me because when I was what I call going to therapy school, we were taught not to have like an object in front of our faces when we're trying to have an interaction with a client because it can be perceived as we're not paying attention or we're not listening or we don't care. And so when I think about you giving therapy another shot, I definitely commend you for that. I mean, I understand that it was mandated, but you went into it, it sounds like, with like you were hopeful, like optimistic, right? You didn't really fight the process as much and you still kind of gave into the therapeutic process. And you said you were able to find some really great outcomes. And so what would you tell the viewers? Like, what's the one tip that they can do to take care of their mental health outside of going to therapy or maybe aside from going to therapy?
What I would tell the viewers is start somewhere. It doesn't have to necessarily be therapy. It could be taking a walk for 30 minutes a day to clear your head. It could be yoga. It could be some other sort of therapy that doesn't necessarily mean you're sitting in front of someone or doing like a telehealth. Just start somewhere because you know that you have an issue and you want to get better. So my thing is just start.
And you talked about, breaking generational curses and then your little one. So I want to kind of know how in the being motherhood has like influenced you to, seek out more mental health services. So like what are ways that you kind of teach your kids to be cognizant of not only their voice, but their mental health?
Well, so they're only 3, but what I do with them, even though they're only 3 years old, is I'm like, hey, like, how are you feeling? Because, they're, still learning to talk, little cute selves.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just have conversations with them like, oh, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Just the little things to get them to start being open and expressive. My daughter is a drama queen. And I don't know if she gets that from me or her, but I try to work on that with her, especially because I already lost a daughter. So I want to make sure that she especially is able to come to me, but my son too, because men are also very much forgotten when it comes to a lot of these topics that we talk about. We forget about men's mental health, their physical health. And that's another thing I want to advocate for men. Take care of yourselves as well, because we care about you guys. You guys are human just like we are. But back to my kids. Just wanted to say that. But just talking to them and keeping them informed with stuff that they can understand. Basically.
So just making sure it's like age appropriate and like the building blocks of them understanding themselves better.
I love the feelings identification. I mean, I think it sounds so elementary, and I know that they are young, but even adults can't properly identify their emotions. And that's one of my foundational skills that I teach my clients in therapy, is how to identify what emotions are going on in your body and how that connects to your brain and how that then impacts your behavior. And so props to you for doing that feelings identification. So the other thing that I wanted to check in with you about, you did talk about the reasons why you started your podcast and the reasons why you chose these 3 topics as things that you want to highlight. And in full transparency, my opinion is that you've taken this road that may seem pretty difficult at times, because people might be coming to you constantly for education, or constantly coming to you to vent or to tell a story. And I imagine that has to be sometimes emotionally draining. Like, I think about it as being a person of color and the burden that I feel sometimes on constantly having to educate non-minorities about like my experiences, right? But also understanding that I can't speak for all Asian people. And so how do you overcome this like mental fatigue? How do you overcome vicarious trauma just from hearing all of these stories from people constantly coming to you?
How I cope with it is I know that I have a mission to accomplish, and I do my crying, and then I do my thinking, and then I'm like, okay, there's a mission that needs to be done. So the mission is what keeps me going.
Yeah, this greater purpose, right?
Yep.
I think of that as self-sacrificing almost. And I do think that people in the helping field, and I would consider you in that realm, if you will, but I also think of, have you ever heard of the term wounded healer? Yeah. What do you think about it? Is that you?
That's definitely me.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Is that you?
A wounded healer?
Yeah. Like, what does that word mean to you? Or maybe that label.
Oh,
it's like, there's
an inside joke to that. Anyway,
it's an inside joke.
I love that we have inside jokes now.
Yeah.
I would say that would like make sense to me. I think originally, and we've talked about it in another episode, when I like wanted to really get into this field, it was to like help, and because I had felt those feelings before and didn't have the resources and things like that. And so I wanted essentially, like, I wanted to be the me that I didn't have for somebody else. I would say now I wouldn't consider myself wounded. I would say I'm a healing healer.
Oh.
Because I told you, I don't think anyone's ever completely healed of anything. I think you can be healed of a situation, but I think you're always constantly healing and growing. So yeah, I think I started off as a wounded healer for sure, because I was, going through things and I didn't want someone else to feel that way and how to show up for them. But like where I'm at, like right now, I would say I'm a healing healer.
I love that.
At the same time.
I like that twist.
What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, me. Yeah, kind of like you, like back when I was still in my growing process. But at this point, I'm like, I can kind of like put me aside when I need to and help somebody else, because I understand myself. And I think that's important. I think a lot of the times, like society kind of like takes that whole selfish, don't be selfish, help, but you got to take care of you first. And I think that's why we like be in self-care, because if you're not okay, then you can't help nobody else, and it don't make no difference. So yeah, I think me being, better and like understanding myself and being comfortable with myself and loving myself, I'm able to give that to other people.
Yeah. That makes me think of coping strategies. I mean, you talked about going on a 30-minute walk, and I'm like, oh, that's a great coping strategy. So what are your coping strategies when you're just having a day?
So I love music. I love to sing.
What kind of music?
R&B, jazz, gospel sometimes.
What was the last thing you listened to?
My own song that I wrote.
Oh, you
Beautiful.
Can we hear? Yeah. She's like, don't put me on the spot like that.
Okay, I'm joking. How about you? Would you be interested in like sharing the, I don't know, is there a link or something, or maybe the lyrics, so we can let the viewers like read the lyrics? Because my understanding is music, like songs, are poems, and so if you are comfortable with sharing a poem/song,
I am absolutely comfortable with
Great.
that. I also like to do yoga sometimes. That's very therapeutic.
Yes.
And then the walking. Just especially early morning when the kids are still sleeping, just walk around the building or something, it doesn't have to be like a mile, just, I don't know, I was about to get dramatic for a second. It was like the cool breeze.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's all the part of it.
Shining on your face.
Yeah, the wind going through my non-existent hair.
On the scalp. That's what I'm talking about.
It's,
you probably feel it more.
Yes. You're just more in touch with the nature elements.
No,
that's
I feel
all.
it more than y'all. Right here.
And then just getting in tune with myself is also a coping mechanism, because you know that if it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't worry about it now.
Okay. I get what you're talking about. You're talking about like living in the present moment, and that's a part of being mindful. When I think about people who are in this constant state of anxiety or worry, it's about being too much future forward. And then when I think about people who are in this depressive state that are constantly hopeless and helpless, they are focused on living in the past, and they have ruminating thoughts about things that happened in the past. So as a therapist, what I'm trying to do with both of those clients, you have one client with depression and one with anxiety, is bring them both to the present moment and focusing on that. So I love that you said that. You literally are a gem, because you are like a miniature therapist. You're saying everything that I would love the viewers to know, and you're using your own language and doing it. And that is so valuable. So say more.
She's like, I love it.
I appreciate it. No, it's just me putting human back in humanity. People lack that. We all forget that we're human. We're not perfect, but yet the society wants us to be that. And I really don't understand that.
You're speaking to my soul. I keep saying that all the time.
That's your mantra.
That's my mantra. I don't know if you know, but like I've been saying, one of my affirmations to myself has been, I am human. And I just think we're lacking compassion and empathy, and just like, and I'm not saying it to use it to justify anything. I think another thing is to understand that understanding something is not a justification, or like, but it is good to have understanding. But yeah, like that we're human and we mess up, and we're not always like this picture perfect versions of ourselves. And so how we can be a little bit more just understanding and have more empathy. It doesn't necessarily, for ourselves and others. It doesn't mean you have to agree, but I think we live in a space where people have a lot of issue with duality, like things being multiple truths being true at one time. So yeah, I really love that you said that, just bringing humanity back into being human.
For sure. People need to give themselves grace.
Oh, Matisse would love that.
That's the thing that people
Shout out
lack
to
now
Matisse.
is they don't give themselves grace. They just keep beating themselves. I'm like, don't, just stop doing that. Is that helping you? Is that productive? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Stop beating yourself up. Just know that you're in that place, but you're not going to be in that place forever. So that's me.
I always tell people to, because I'm like, yeah, you need to have more grace for yourself. But many of my clients will say, well, how do I do that? I'm literally just like trying my best. And I tell them, well, you talk to yourself. Your inner voice talks to yourself the way that you would talk to your best friend or a partner or a child. I always think about our inner childs, and many of us have wounded inner childs that are trying to heal. And so it's like, instead of saying, gosh, you suck, like you're never going to get It's saying, no, you got this. Like, keep going, keep trying. You're going to get it next time. You fell down this time, but pick yourself right back up, and just talking and like living in this like more like positive, optimistic state. And I think it's like, well, are you a person that sees the glass half full or half empty? And if you do see it half empty, there is a way to train your mindset, which I feel like you are a great example of someone who is trained and changed their mindset. You're the definition that like people can change the way that they think and the way that they behave, but you have to work on it. So what have you done actually to that point is like, how did you train yourself and train your mindset to become this different version, enhanced version of yourself from that young person to now?
The first thing I did was I held myself accountable. That's another thing that we lack in humanity. We lack accountability.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm not perfect by any means, as none of us are, but a lot of people don't take accountability when they do make a mistake. They're like, oh, okay, well, I did that. Okay, whatever. But no.
But like really own it. Like, yes, you did that.
Yes. I have to be like that because who else is going to hold me accountable? Nobody. Keith Sweat, nobody. So, that's where it started for me. I'm like, okay, I've done this, this, and this. Let me hold myself accountable for this, this, and this. And that's where the growth starts, is when you start holding yourself accountable for the steps that you've done. And then to know the next steps after you take yourself accountable so you can grow from there. So
that's awesome. That's good. So wait, can you tell the viewers how they can get in contact with you or how they can help support before we end today?
Yes. Thank you, beautiful ladies. You guys can find Morning Mimosas on Facebook. It's Morning Mimosas. You guys will see
Love
this
the
nice.
t-shirt.
Love it.
Spelled Morning Mimosas.
Yes.
We are also on Spotify, Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. Is that how you guys say
LinkedIn.
that? LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn. Yes,
Yeah, I never
LinkedIn.
knew how to say that. LinkedIn. We're also on a website called alignable.com. That's a great website for small businesses. Alignable.com.
Oh, dropping gems, y'all.
It's all about growing the community.
Yes.
And yeah, if you guys want to follow me personally, Holly Sisa, Facebook, Instagram, and all social medias, you guys can find me. So
love it.
And how to support? Here's something free. Share a post. Like something.
It's all free.
It's all free.
Simple.
All free.
Send it to a friend.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
I was
like, go ahead. Thank you. I really just want to thank you for coming and just being such good energy and being like a beacon of hope and sharing your growth with us and being so open with us and sharing the personal things that you did. So I just want to extend that thank you to you.
Cheers to that.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That's our episode for today. Without further ado, ladies,
soul out.
Yeah.
We don't have any claps, but
I was about to say that in the episode. I'm like, Paul, you need to put some claps in there.